Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 69 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Today, we're going to be having some more fun with RFTools Dimensions. Ideally, I'd like to find a couple cool dimensions, randomly generated at first, and then work towards getting better dimensions. So today we're going to learn a little bit about how the dimensional workbench works, how you can get a bunch of cool things, and all kinds of nifty stuff. So, without further ado, let's get cooking. So, let's make a new dimension, because the one we found was not, well, I don't know, it might not be terrible. It's probably not, like, awful, but it's not amazing either. It's not the greatest and coolest dimension I've ever seen, and part of me wants to just, I'm going to hang on to it, because it's not bad, and I think now's as good a time as any to, like, get a chest to store all of our cool dimension tabs that we've gone ahead and started working towards making, and I think it might also be a good time to get one of these dudes taught to the recipe guys, so we can start making more and more of these. So let's bring up a tab. Empty dimension tab. Now here's the deal. If you create two dimensions in this dimensional inscriber with the exact same dimlets in them, they will point to the same dimension. So you won't get two dimensions with the same attributes, you will get one dimension that both tabs point to. And that's kind of not what we want, especially when we have an empty tab that we didn't specify anything for. So in order to work around that, there is the digit dimlet, which is pretty cool. The digit dimlet is one of the craftable dimlets, and it's created just like this. And by placing it in there, it doesn't change any of the attributes at all about the dimension, aside from the fact that it's going to be different because it has a different dimlet in it, right? So now this is a different dimlet. And there's a digit 1 and a digit 0 and a digit 7 and a digit 6, 9, 8, 3, 2, 5, 4. You get the point. 1 through 9 digits, and you can have multiple digit dimlets in there, right? So you can have digit 1, 2, and you can have digit 1, 3, and digit 1, 4, and digit 1, 5. So you can put all kinds of different digits in there. So in theory, you could have like an infinite number of dimensions that are exactly the same. So by having digit dimlets in there, it just prevents so that's digit dimlet 0. That's going to prevent this guy from pointing to the same dimension. So when we go ahead and place this dude in here, we'll call it dirdim2 and hit store. We'll see what kind of nifty stuff we came up with. Shift right clicking at D0. Okay, cool. So if I'm going to stick you in there, do you have to be like powered up before you, boom, decide to do things or what? So hey, that sounds cool. Mahogany wood planks is the base block, and molten emerald is the base fluid. Wow, that's a dimension. Nifty. Clouds are going to be a different color. Sky looks pretty standard. Speed is half, so it's going to move at a half speed, half the normal. So here's the deal. As you can see, this guy is sitting there chilling, using up a small amount of RF. Looks like he stores about 10 million. And as long as the dimension exists, it's draining power out of this tab. So the tab just sitting in a chest or doing whatever it's doing, I'm going to go ahead and, I really don't want there to be a situation, if you're in a dimension when it runs out of power, bad and terrible things will happen to you. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So let's just leave the thing in there. Again, we are completely wrecking our power system as a result of filling that guy up with all the RF that he needs to be filled up with. So that's bad times for everybody. Like, we're managing to maintain power here, which is good. But wow, are we hurting our base? We are losing power in this dude. Alright, you're gonna come back online here, hopefully in a second. What is the power situation here that you are so easily running out of power? I mean, you've got this tier of power going to you, so you shouldn't be having that much of a problem. But you are kind of on the end of a line that has a lot of other stuff happening. So maybe we should resonant flux duct you a little bit. I don't know that I have enough, though, to reach all the way up there. We'll see, I guess. So that's 12. You watch, it's going to be like short 1. Mark my words. I'm just hoping that by having resonant here, it like mitigates this everything's dying situation that we run into. That's 21 right there, so I definitely don't have enough. In fact, that's a little extra derpy. Is this thing back online yet? It is. So let's get like 20 of these and we'll be right back. That'll do, Dyer. That'll do. Probably want to go Raven mode for this one. Well, maybe not. That should work. So maybe that'll prevent the weirdness that we're seeing. Basically, power is just like completely being dispersed into this dude, right? And just killing it. So let's go check out this dimension that's apparently made out of mahogany wood and liquid emeralds. Dun 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 dun. Real quick, I do have, yeah, I do. Just making sure. Always check that. Always, always, always check. Because if you have no way to get out of that dimension, you're literally stuck there until you can craft the appropriate resources. Yeah, mahogany wood. That is what this dimension is made out of, and it's a waves. Remember, it said, right? So the terrain is waves, and I guess that's what waves terrain looks like. That's a thing. It's a thing that exists. This terrain style. I just want to see the liquid emerald lakes. I want to see one of those, if there are any. There may or may not be any. Hey, one of the things I want to find. Woot. Now, it would be nice if this was a dimension of no monsters, but, you know, what can we say? So in each of these dimensions, you're going to find these nifty little houses that have a bunch of good stuff in them. And you're basically going to want to shoot it home. So make sure you have something to teleport all these items back home with you, and you'll be in really good shape. You'll also find on the wall these dudes. And that's also kind of nice to get. So basically what you're finding here is all the dimlets that are available in RFTools Dimensions, which is cool. I like the green clouds. That is nifty. So basically, the best way to find dimlets is to explore dimensions that have been created by RFTools, and you'll find these guys. And you'll go in here, and you'll find dimlet components, which we'll talk about how to use them, and you'll find these dudes, which are pretty much dimlets themselves. So like here's jungle edge biome, and here's nether brick, and here's eucalyptus wood. So if I wanted to, I now have the ability to use nether brick in some kind of nifty mechanic, right? Be it making the world out of nether brick, or making orbs out of nether brick. There's all kinds of cool stuff we can do. So I'm gonna probably spend some time off camera exploring a little bit. There we go. And we'll come back probably in a minute or two. After I've, you know, spent a few minutes looking around out here in this dimension, that is shenanigans, and we'll see what we can come up with. Is this an area that I've already... Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So, a big trick is making sure you don't explore the same area twice. Alright, we'll be back in a few minutes here. Like I said, a little off-camera work. I'm going to get some of this. I just want to get a good sampling of dimensional things, and then we'll come back and go from there. Cool. Be right back. So the good news about these things, and trust me, it really is good news, is they're really not that uncommon. I mean, this is a little silly that there's 4 of them like right next to each other. But that said, they are not super uncommon by any stretch of the imagination. They are pretty straightforward to find when you're flying around out here. Nice. Okay, I have no idea how many of these things I got, because I've just been flying around for 15 minutes and collecting them all. But we're going to see. And then it's time to check out some cool stuff. So if we look in here and we look at dim, we should see lots of things, right? So first off, we've got a bunch of components. These components can be put together in a specific way that creates the actual dimension stuff. So like memory units and controllers and control circuits and base parts and energy modules. These things can be combined to create the actual dimlets that we'll use to create our dimensional stuff. And then we got a bunch of dimensional stuff, so that's cool. So we got no feature dimlets. So like if we put that into a dimension, it would have no features. Ooh, dimlet effect absorption, that sounds cool. You'll notice that each of these has a rarity, by the way. That's important because the rarity affects which items are used to actually do the creation of stuff. So cool stuff, red clouds, dark red sky, like, you know, black sky. Ooh, that sounds neat. Then we've got some material dimlets. So like ruby ore. We can make a dimension out of ruby ore now if we want. Sounds cool. Topaz ore, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So all kinds of dimensional stuff. That looks cool. I like it. Some biomes, right? So we can decide what biomes look like. But from here we can do other things. So let's first talk about what these different parts can be used for. So let's take an example, right? If we were to take a look at something that I know we don't really care that much about having. We've got sky dimlet, body none. I don't know what that means. Dark day, normal day, purple clouds, body none. I don't really know what that means, but we have 3 of them, so let's go ahead and like throw it in here, right? If we drop this in here and hit the extract button, it's gonna go do-do-do-do-do-do, and it's gonna extract some of the dimlet components out of that item, right? We only got 1 of them, which is kind of bad luck, and it's a bummer. There's 6 pieces that go into every dimlet that's available. We only got 1 of those 6, but we can do something to make our lives a little bit easier. We can infuse it. If we infuse this guy with dimensional shard ore, which we've got a relatively decent amount of. How are we on this? You are not quite where I'd expect you to be. You have nothing that I can do with this. We could just place it in the world, and that would get us our dimensional shards. And it does respect fortune, so that's cool. What could we do here to automate this a little bit? We could make a fortune 3 upgrade. You just need a fortune 3 book, which... Fortune 3 book, fortune 2 book, fortune 1 book is an emerald in the Arcane and Sorcerer. So let's get some books. Boom. Let's get some emeralds. Yeah. And we've got lots of experience, so I'm not super worried about you. So 1 and 1 is 2, 1 and 1 is 2, so that's 4. We need 4 of these, right? And 2 and 2 is 3. So this should get me fortune 3. No more. Cool. Hey, my anvil broke. It's been like so rare that I've actually used anvils. Fortune 1, fortune 1, fortune 2, and then fortune 2, fortune 2, fortune 3. Let's try this out, because I've actually never tried this before. And it sounds like a fun time, right? So fortune upgrade 3 just needs a blank upgrade and redstone. So that would be one of you. And one of you. And I'm not going to teach this recipe because I don't think that there's a need to, you know, do this at any point in any kind of automated way. So I'll just do you, you, and you. Cool. And that should have gotten me, and it probably imported already. Right? Right. Right. Oh, hi, cool. It did go into my inventory. I just missed it for some reason. So that's cool. Now I assume what I can do is one of these dies, Destructor, and hook that in and put the thing in there, and that would be cool. And while you're doing that, let's do a Constructor too, real quick. And this can be used for more than just emerald shard ore, by the way. Like if I wanted to, I could use the same system for like redstone or emeralds or anything else, even though I've already got a pretty good system for those going. I don't know that I have a particular place in mind as to where this can live, but behind a wall sounds good. I don't feel the need to have it in any way, shape, or form. So like, what if we put the Destructor, we'll put here with the Fortune 3 upgrade, and then we put our that's the wrong one. Destructor, Constructor, Fortune 3, cable. Sweet. Now if we look in here, we should see we got 4 dimensional shards. Nice. I want to just kind of test this a little bit before I actually like kick this on, right? So that was, we got 6 out of that. I have to assume that fortune is working there for, right? Yeah, we got 6 out of shards. We got 2 that time, so that's, you know, just bad luck on the fortune. 3, 4, 8. Okay, that's totally got to be working, right? So what I can do then is do this. Sweet. And we should be converting dimensional shard ore using fortune into actual dimensional shards. Awesome. So those things can be used to augment any and all, well, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's any and all, but it's a majority, if not all, of your RFTools machines. And to do that, you want, I believe it's called an infuser. That's machine infuser. Yeah, this dude. Yeah. Basically, you put an RFTools machine in here, and you infuse it with dimensional shards, and it makes that machine better. It can either reduce power consumption or make it run faster, or in the case of the Inlet workbench, if you infuse it, it'll increase the chance of getting all the parts out of the deconstructed Inlet. How cool is that? So, what we're going to want is a bunch of shards. Boom. And I don't know how many we need. Not 100% sure on that. But let's get some of you. Let's just put this guy right here. I'm going to put this guy in there, and we'll put a stack in, and we'll see. It'll tell me the infusing point. So we'll be back in a minute when that's done. So this is easy math. 25% from a stack of crystals. So if you want a fully infused dude, we just need 3 more stacks. 1, 2, 3. Boom. And so 4 stacks total. To get this guy infused all the way up to the top tier. By the way, how is power doing? I'm just curious if you... Oh, hey, look, 95%. So that means, good news, circling back for a second while that infuses, you are an empty resonating crystal. Sweet. So that's going to go in here. Boom. And that's going to give us a large chunk. Wow, almost 10,000 infusing power for the next time we want to make one of those bad boys. I like it. I like it a lot. By the way, somebody pointed out kind of a flaw in my system, which is actually very accurate, and there is absolutely a flaw, and I didn't realize it. What we should probably be doing as part of the when to trigger the redstone signal that activates this laser is measure the amount of liquid in this tank. Because if there's only 200 millibuckets of fluid in this tank, which you get from melting down one of these dudes, you wind up destroying it immediately because you get a negative 60% purity, which is usually bad times. I think that's accurate. Let's see. Let's see. So if we did resonating ore, and I know I'm going back to a mod you guys don't want to see, but I'm just curious if this is accurate. So that goes into there. It melts pretty quickly. I'm just curious what will happen when we do this with just one. Hello. Wow, that was quick. Okay, cool. Good times. So why... Oh, wait. What did you do? Did you fire the laser? I don't think so. 51, right? So it's probably purifying right now. So it's probably in one of the purifiers. I'll come back in a sec. I just want to test this a little bit. But meanwhile, I'm also going to be infusing this guy a little bit more. And then we'll get back to dimlets. I just want to test this real quick. Yeah, it's definitely firing the laser and destroying the liquid. So that's something that... Basically, we're going to want to measure the amount of liquid in the tank and wait to fire the laser until that liquid amount reaches a certain threshold. Maybe I'll do that off camera. Maybe I'll do it on camera. I'd probably do it off camera because you guys didn't seem to really enjoy some of that stuff. So long story short, just add a Boolean conditional, add it to the existing one that says, you know, liquid amount equals whatever amount of liquid is 30 dudes, right? So, yeah, probably 6,000, something like that. Just FYI. Just a heads up. Anyway, back to this stuff. So are you done infusing that stack? Cool. So one more stack to infuse here, and we'll have the fully infused Inlet workbench. This is like the one machine that you absolutely want to focus on infusing if you're going to be doing anything with RFTools Dimensions. And I'll show you why as soon as it's done infusing, because that's an important thing. So you're done. Nice. Infused 100%. Sweet. Pop that guy right back there. And let's extract another dimlet, right? So RFTools Dimensions item. Let's take a look at, I like the cyan sky, bright night, body, small sun. Ooh, body, planet. Maybe that's what body none does. Because you can have like planets in the sky and stuff. So that's probably what body none does. Blue fog. Blue fog sounds like one we'll just take out, right? Just as a demonstration, right? We put this dude in here, and you're gonna... And hey, look at that. We got all 5 dimlet parts. That is huge. Nice. That is super cool. I like that a lot, that we get that. So, without further ado, we've got dimlet parts that we can now combine into new dimlets. So to combine dimlet parts, you'll note here that, like, say we wanted to get... I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we can get, right? But if we wanted a red moon, right, to be in the sky at all times, you'll see, well, let's choose red sun, right? So that guy is a rarity of 0. Rarity is what you care about the most in terms of an attribute, because it tells you, so there's 6 tiers of rarity, right? So each dimlet needs a rarity circuit, which goes in here. It needs the base part, which goes here, right? So there's your base part. There's your rarity circuit. Then it needs an energy module. There's only 3 tiers of energy module, but the first tier does 0, 1. The second tier does 2 and 3. And then the last tier, I think, is the regular for rarity 2 and 3. And then the advanced energy module, I guess, is 4, 5, and 6, right? And the same for memory units, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have the type modifier. So you have base part followed by a rarity control circuit, 0 through 6 goes here. If the rarity of the thing is 0, you need a 0 control circuit, you need a basic energy module, and you need a basic memory circuit. But for example, Diamond Ore, for example, is rarity 5. So that one, as you can see on the tooltip there, needs the rarity 5 guy, and it needs the top tier energy module, the one with 3 lightning bolts on it, and the top tier memory unit that has 3 little red dots on it. See? So that's your difference. And then you need, because it's a material type controller, you need that. This specifies what type of dimlet it is. So this is material type. You could have things like biomes, right? So that's your biome type controller. You see that little green half moon there. So that's basically the gist. Now, to specify exactly what type of biome it's going to be, for example, you need something else from RFTools Dimensions, and that is these guys, absorbers. Absorbers absorb an item or a fluid or a biome or terrain or a couple other things, right, that you can basically use to specify things. So there's, like, 50 different biomes, right? Like a ton of them, right? In order to have them all be, they're all pretty much rarity 1. So they're all going to be about the same crafting recipe. It's always the same 5 items that you need, but then you need that biome absorber. So if you want a, for example, desert biome, what you would do is you'd craft a biome absorber, you'd go throw it in a desert biome, it would absorb the desert biome attribute, and then it would be combined in here to create a desert dimlet. So that's the gist of how these things work. I kind of wouldn't mind potentially using this to create some very customized dimensions pretty soon. For example, what's something that we don't have a ton of? So I've got something I want to try making. It might be really expensive power-wise, but we'll give it a shot. I wanted to make draconium ore dimension. So it may not be a dimension entirely populated with draconium ore, but we could do something with it. So in order to do that, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need the base memory unit. We're going to need, it's rarity 4, so we need the tier 3 memory unit and other stuff. And then we're also, so let's do like this, right? So I know we're going to want a material type controller. Now we have memory units tier 1 and 2, but we don't have the 3rd tier. But we do have a tier 3 energy module. We do have a rarity 4 control circuit, so we have parts of what we need. We want the base memory component, right? And then we're also going to want, so let's find a rarity 4 or 5 dimlet that we already have, and that would be cool, right? So there's some rarity 3s. We want rarity 4 or higher. So just kind of mousing over all these dudes. Here's materials. Materials are usually where you get into your higher rarities. Hopefully I found one while I was out exploring. Come on, don't fail me now, RNG. Some rarity 3s, which is cool, but... oh, a rarity 5. Chiseled quartz block. I'll take it. I don't think I need chiseled quartz blocks, so what I'm going to do is drop this in here. We'll deconstruct it. And then we get our advanced memory dude. Sweet. We'll probably just take all these out and put them in the refined storage system for now. Cool. So there's everything that we need to create draconium, right? So if I put all this stuff in here and I double click on draconium ore, notice that it'll automatically pull the different dimlet type controller thingies out of the inventory here and place them in the bottom. So that's cool. So now all I need to do is, so now I can create a rarity 4 material. I have to specify draconium though. So to do that, we're going to need material absorber. And that thing is not the end of the world to make. We're just going to need some wool. Cool. So now I can start absorbing materials. Place the block on top of another block and it will gradually absorb all identical blocks in the area. You can use the end result in the dimlet workbench. Sweet. So basically, let's get some draconium that we have here. So we've got about 60 chilling. Would have been smart not to have dumped draconium into this. So I actually turned it off a little bit ago and let a buildup of draconium occur. So instead of actually using the draconium, so check this out. Boom. It'll eat the draconium. Sweet. And then we can pick it up, and it retains that 24% absorbed. Cool. So looks like we're going to need close to 100, or about maybe 2 stacks worth. And I've got about, so I had 60 here. And that got me, so it looks like we're going to need about 2 stacks of those blocks. To get draconium ore to behave itself. Now I did go down here and switch this to a purple laser lens, which, hintity hint hint, is the material filter for draconium ore. So hopefully we should start getting more draconium ore. So we've already gotten 5 more of it since I actually looked in there. So yay for void ore miner. So that totally bumped me up to 50%. So we need about a stack more of draconium ore. So I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes and we'll be back. Oh, that wasn't so bad. Do the thing, absorber. Nice. I think I had one extra one earlier, right? So, good times. You can go in there. And I'm going to go ahead and swap this out. By the way, much like the controller, you can't break the crystal lens with a pick. You have to shift right click with the assembler. And then I'm going to put the crystal laser lens back. Sweet. And then you can go back there for the time being. So let's try and create a dimension that has a bunch of draconium in it. So if I were to place this crystal absorber that is 100% absorbed in here, we should now be able to create a dimlet for draconium ore. Sweet. Now, as a note, it costs 1,000 RF per tick to maintain this dimension with only this thing in it. So that's, you know, a thing. Let's look what kind of, do we have like orbs of any kind would be cool to do? So we do have orbs, huge orbs, and huge liquid orbs. How about tendrils? Did we find any tendrils? I don't think we did. Orbs is what? Orbs is a feature. So feature dimlet, we have canyons, none, ravines, orbs, origin, no dimlet buildings, huge orbs, dense caves, clean. So what I'm going to do is huge orbs sounds cool. We'll take that one. And basically, I always forget this part. Let's get the book, because I always forget this part. This is like the one part that I always forget, which order it goes in. Because in Mistcraft, I think it was the opposite of how it is in RFTools Dimensions. Dimlets. Dimlet crafting. Yeah, you get a 40% chance to get a dimlet out without the infusion thing. So if you want to create a biome forest dimlet, you would place the biome absorber, slowly absorb it, that's that. Time absorbers, I was talking about absorbers and stuff. Cool, cool, cool. The order of the dimlets affects the effective dimension. If a material dimlet is placed before a terrain dimlet, it will create a world made out of that material. If it is inserted before a feature dimlet, it will make the feature out of that material. So first you put in the material dimlet, then you put in the feature. So it's like an adjective and a noun, right? That's what I always forget. So in theory, we can put the material dimlet followed by, and it's going to warn you, there are dangling modifiers in this descriptor. Cool. And then you can put huge orbs in there, and it's okay. If I put it in the opposite direction, it would warn me. Good to know. So that's at least good, right? So we're going to have huge orbs made out of draconium ore, in theory. So let's get our realized dimension tab for this guy. Boom, 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 boom. Draconium world. Store. And then we can throw that in here. So I'm going to take this tab out, and this tab goes in. Now, this is going to wreck my power, by the way. Notice how much longer it takes to create. Your standard guy was taking... maintenance cost was 10. This maintenance cost was 318 RF a tick. This was 10. Probably because of that emerald liquid in there, I would think. But this guy's taking almost 5,000 RF a tick just to create the dimension. And then once it's up and running, it's going to be 1,811 RF a tick. So that's going to be really expensive. Either way you look at it. Sometimes. Hey, good! Even though we're killing our power right now, we're not losing power over here, so that's a really good thing. So once this thing is made... Nice. Nice. We should be able to travel there now. So let's make sure we have our way home. And let's try out Draconium World. Dial once. You guys ready to see what Draconium World looks like? Cross your fingers. I have no idea what the other attributes of this dimension are going to be. It doesn't look too terrible. It looks Twilight Foresty, which is kind of a bad sign. Because it might... I wonder what the TPS looks like. Draconium World's going to be a little bit slow, probably. In terms of TPS... Where is this? Draconium World. Yeah, tick time is 194. Yeah, because we were very unlucky with the Twilight Forest World being a thing. But that's okay. Maybe it'll settle down, but look what we have. Huge orbs of draconium ore. I love it. It totally worked. It did the thing that it was supposed to do. The bad news is that it randomly selected the Twilight Forest. So you might settle down, or you might just keep getting worse. Let's go home. This might take a moment to teleport home, because the tick rate's super slow right now. The world should unload, though, once we teleport home. Go on, teleporter. Teleport me home. There you are. See how long that took? Tick rate. So what we should be able to do is create a new one of these. So what I'm going to do... this is going to be power wasting, but it's kind of the best thing we can do. I can extract my draconium and dimlet feature out of here, and then what I'm going to do is probably... I want that thing to be charged. Charge. Thank you. Make a dimlet. A digit. So this will make, again, remember, this will make it a new thing, right? So there's an empty dimension tab. We've pretty much destroy that dimension, or the way to get to it at least. So we're going to want U2, and then a new dimlet. We'll call it Draconium 2 and store it. So this will be, again, it'll have Draconium huge orbs, but it'll be totally randomized with regards to the rest of the attributes. And hopefully it won't be a Twilight Forest dimension. And if it's not, then we'll be good. By the way, Twilight Forest, I talked to the mod author, and he said that he's come up with a fix for what he thinks is causing all that tick rate lag, and he's implementing it soon. So hopefully in the next version of the Direwolf 20 pack, that will be done, and then maybe we can actually visit the Twilight Forest and have fun out there. Because I definitely want to go through that mod, but as we know, it kind of lags out the server if I do go there, and that's bad times. So you're charging up. Sweet. And there's one more note that I didn't tell you guys. One little thing. So let's dial up Draconium 2, dial once. Let's see what this dimension looks like. Well, it's raining. My goodness, where are we? It's an ocean biome. I'm at Y level 130. I look to be way up above the clouds. There might be a little bit of tick rate lag. I'm curious what the deal is here. I'm just going to go down a little bit and see what I can't find. Hello. Look what I found. A thing. How's my TPS looking? Still bad, but it should settle down once World Gen calms down. I would think. It's just World Gen happening right now. But it's not Twilight Forest, so that's a good sign. So it looks to be like so this is using the Nether generation code. So it's like, it's kind of like the Nether in that it's like a big world without a sky. It has like a ceiling and everything. This is what the Nether looks like, basically. But hey, we've got our Draconium ore orbs. Sweet. So if I wanted to, I could totally, you know, do this and get what I call Draconium for days. Because that's where we're at. Because at some point soon, we're probably going to be getting into Draconium, Draconic Evolution, and having lots and lots and lots of Draconium ore is going to be in our best interest. So we're going to want to do that. But for now, it's wrapping up point. So Devil Toy signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time and play some more with new stuff. I'm waiting for the World Gen to calm down because TPS is settling, so that's a good sign. See, tick rate's going down. That means that it's finished generating the world around me, and that's a good sign. I think in the Twilight Forest, it would have still been laggy even after World Gen settled, but we'll see. For now, take it easy.